Hello, everyone. Hey, hi, everybody. We miss seeing you all in person. Typically, in the past, we've done these presentations, these educational seminars by holding events, and we get to see you all and your bright, shiny faces. So, hugs to you all, and we hope that you are well and staying healthy. And we're glad that you've joined us today. We've got a great group of people with us on board today, and we're going to be sharing some really fun information. My name is Patti Cash, and I'm the owner at Magic Cruises and Tours. And with us today, we have Krystle Sampson, who is our Director of Sales for Rocky Mountaineer. Now, we're going to be sharing some great info about the breathtaking Canadian Rockies and traveling on Rocky Mountaineer. So thank you again for joining us. Now, for those of you who may be new to Magic, I want to give you just a little bit of background. We are nestled right in the heart of downtown Worthington. In fact, we've been here for the past 32 years and lots has changed around us, but we're still the constant. We're here for you then, we're here for you now, and we are a family owned and operated business. We do all kinds of different vacations, from cruises to tours to train or rail travel, all inclusive resorts. And we've got a great experienced team of travel counselors that all added up, it's like 180 years we represent of travel experience for you. So when you are ready to make your plans, and we know that we're not traveling now, but we are busily making plans for lots of our guests and our clients in 2021 and beyond. We want you to know that we're here for you to help you every step of the way. Now, in looking over the list of those of you that had registered to attend this presentation today, I know that many of you have been to Alaska and have been very satisfied with that experience, but not too many of you have been to the breathtaking Canadian Rockies. And I'm here to tell you, it is spectacular. And the pictures that we're going to share with you today don't do it justice to what it really feels like to experience this majestic scenery in this destination. And this is a great way to experience it. So we have with us today our guest speaker, our Director of Sales with Rocky Mountaineer, Krystle Sampson. I'm going to turn it over to Krystle to lead the way for our adventures this afternoon. And so for the next 30 minutes or so, Krystle will give you a good background on what the Rocky Mountaineer is all about. And then we'll have time for some questions and answers at the end. So thank you, Krystle. Welcome.
Thank you for that introduction, Patti. I'm so excited to be here and share Rocky Mountaineer with everyone. The Canadian Rockies is very near and dear to my heart. I had the pleasure of taking my first trip last fall, so I'm going to share some experiences throughout the presentation along with you of my experiences. But a couple of housekeeping items to start off with. You should see a cursor on your, or excuse me, a toolbar on your screen. If not, you can wave your cursor over your screen to have that toolbar pop up. But there is a button that says chat. And that chat function is very important because we're going to do all of our Q&A today through that chat function. So if you want to just double click on that chat function, drop a hi in the comments for us. You can also ask me any questions during the presentation if you'd like. If there's something that I'm going over that you want a little bit more in-depth info on, definitely ask me a question through the chat throughout the presentation or at the end. So keep that in mind. Also, we're going to flash the information for Magic Cruises again at the end of the presentation and tell you some really cool things about the promos that we have going on too. So let's get started talking about the Rocky Mountaineer. Now, we are very special at Rocky Mountaineer because we only operate in southwestern Canada, just one little corner of the world, but I think we do it perfectly. I'm a little biased because I work for the company, but we're unique for a few different reasons. Number one, we are a daylight only train travel company. So we are scenic by day train travel. So I think a lot of people, when they think of the Rocky Mountaineer, they think we're going to be on sleeper cars traveling throughout the trains or traveling throughout the destinations. Well, we put you in nice, comfy hotels on the overnight, so you don't have to worry about those sleeper cars. In addition, we also combine our luxury train travel with a set of curated land experiences when you get into the Rockies. So combining one of our 3 rail routes along with the land experience creates this Rocky Mountaineer package. I see some of you have dropped some highs in the comments. Thanks so much, Melanie and Phil and Alejandro from Sugar Land, Texas. That's awesome. And Liz. So in addition to putting those 2 vacations together in one, now you can do your experiences from either Vancouver or Calgary. Most people typically opt to do Rocky Mountaineer as a one-way, whether they start in Vancouver, take one of our 3 rail routes into the Rockies, enjoy some combination of hotel night stays and land tours until they fly out of Calgary, or vice versa, starting in Calgary where they'll do their land experience first, then jumping on one of our 3 rail routes to head back to Vancouver. But there is a way to do a round trip, and I'm going to touch on that as well because it's one of my favorite ways to do the Rocky Mountaineer. It truly is an extraordinary experience. This scenery is just breathtaking. Much like the US and Canada, the rails were built long before the roads. So these stunning views really hug crevices and mountains and canyons and trellis bridges, and you just really get beautiful unobstructed scenery that you just can't see by driving through this area. So what I thought what we'd do today is we would plan our perfect Rocky Mountaineer trip. There are 4 steps to planning your perfect Rocky Mountaineer trip. You're going to need to ask yourselves these questions and talk these over with your magic agents and put this trip together. And step 1 is choosing your rail route. Remember, we operate 3 different rail routes in southwestern Canada. So I'm going to take you through what to expect on those rail routes so you can choose which one's best for you. Step 2 is choosing your rail service level. And what that refers to is which one of our custom built dome train cars would you like to enjoy your experience in. We have a gold leaf and a silver leaf, and we'll go over some features of those. Step 3 is choosing your season. We only operate from mid-April till mid-October each year, on normal years, I should say. And still within that time period, there's 3 very distinct seasons. So I want to go over a little bit about what to expect in those seasons so you can know when to plan your trip. And then step 4 is choose your package. And what that really refers to is remembering that Rocky Mountaineer combines 2 vacations in one. That land portion where you have some combination of hotel night stays and tours, we're going to talk about some possibilities of how to round out the package with that section. So, but first, I want to start with telling you about a typical day on board the Rocky Mountaineer, because no matter which you choose in those 4 steps, whether it's gold leaf, silver leaf, whichever route, the experience on board is very similar. So I want to go over a little bit about what to expect there. Now, typically, a full day of train travel on the Rocky Mountaineer is about 10 hours. Now, when I first went, I took a stack of magazines and a book thinking I was going to have all this time to catch up on reading, and I never even cracked open one of those. Because the experience was so enriching and full. The scenery just was stunning the entire way that I couldn't take my eyes out of the windows. And then the experience with the storytelling of the train host really brought everything to alive, not to mention the amazing food, which we'll definitely get to. But our experience starts with arriving at our train stations. This particular train station is our state-of-the-art train station in Vancouver. Now, one of the things that we take care of for the entire trip is your luggage porterage. So keep that in mind. We're going to be moving your luggage porterage for you throughout the trip, so you don't have to worry about lugging your large suitcases. Maybe just take a day bag with you on the train, but we'll take care of the porterage. When you arrive at the station, we have a ton of amazing staff there to help acclimate, answer any questions you may have, and just help you get ready for the experience. And then my favorite part, we roll out the red carpet and welcome you into the Rocky Mountaineer family. We have one special guest ring the all aboard whistle, and we have just a small ceremony there before you descend outside and get onto your particular train car. And that is where our train hosts take over. These are truly one of the most special parts of your onboard journey with Rocky Mountaineer. We have a ton of amazing train hosts, many of which come back year after year. We have very little turnover, and many of which are very local to the area. So they are able to share a lot of local anecdotes. I remember on my particular journey, there was a train host and we passed by her hometown and the train tracks went by her neighborhood, and she was able to point out the exact house that she grew up in. She said, "Hey, that one over there with the green roof, that was where I grew up." So to be able to hear kind of that local flair along with the history is really awesome. These areas have so many amazing points of interest with really amazing historic stories, and the train hosts really make sure that you don't miss any of those. In addition, they make sure that you don't miss any wildlife sightings. And what they'll do is they'll wear an earpiece so they can communicate with all of the train cars And if someone sees a wildlife sighting, they'll radio back and everyone will be able to say, hey, at your right side or your left side, there's a bear, white-horned sheep, elk, things like that. So we make sure that you don't mention any, or you don't miss any of those important parts. And then my favorite part of any vacation is the food. The food is really amazing on the Rocky Mountaineer. One thing I want to point out, no matter which one of our train cars you choose, the gold leaf or silver leaf, this culinary experience is absolutely amazing, because what we do is we actually have a tiny kitchen on every single train car making food just for that particular train car. So anywhere from about 54 to 62 people, you have your own dedicated culinary staff and tiny kitchen. So, you know, don't think about hot boxes being loaded on. Everything's made fresh to order just for those in that particular train car. We really like to highlight Southwestern Canada's cuisine. So you're going to have a lot of local ingredients like beef from Alberta or salmon from the Fraser River, a river that we literally are going over from many miles, all the trellis bridges there, and fresh vegetables and fruit from British Columbia. We try to do a lot of local sourced, kind of simple, fresh ingredients and recipes. And it's just a really great culinary experience. In addition, everything's all inclusive when you come on the train. And remember, we're a daylight only train travel company. So you'll be having breakfast and lunch, as well as various snacks throughout the day. And we do pair those with beverages, which we try to make regional as well. So for our wine selection, we have wine from the Okanagan Wine Valley, which is just outside of Kamloops, an area that we pass through. And we try to feature a lot of local brews, but there are spirits as well to pair along. So just a great experience. I love to eat, so this part was probably my favorite. So after I tell you a little bit about the typical onboard day, let's talk about those different questions that we want to answer when planning our perfect Rocky Mountaineer trip. And let's start with step one, our rail routes. Now, just to show you our map again, we operate 3 different rail routes throughout southwestern Canada, 2 that go to Jasper and 1 that goes to Lake Louise and Banff. One thing to note, just like I said earlier, you can take routes eastbound or westbound, meaning you can start in Vancouver and head into the Rockies and depart from Calgary, or vice versa. Start in Calgary, do your land experience, and then jump on one of the rail routes to head back to Vancouver. So eastbound and westbound are available, as well as a round trip, which we'll touch on in just a moment. But just for continuity's sake, throughout the rest of the presentation, I'm going to talk about our journeys, our experiences heading from Vancouver, but just remember you can do it the other way. So keep this in mind. Now let's start with our first of the 2 rail routes that go to Jasper. It is called our Rainforest to Gold Rush route, and this is actually our longest route that we operate. It's about 3 days and 2 overnights on the train. Now, we named this particular route Rainforest to Gold Rush, basically describing the change of topography that you're going to see when you're heading out of Vancouver on this route and heading to Jasper through this way. So after a full day, or after about a half a day of train travel on this particular day going to Whistler, although we talked about a typical day on board is about 10 hours, but coming out of Vancouver and heading to Whistler, it's a little bit of a shorter day on this day. So you're going to get about 4 hours of train travel here. And Whistler is a great place to spend some extra time there. You'll get afternoon and evening here in Whistler. Fun, vibrant city, known for the 2010 Winter Olympics. And there's lots of great eateries here, lots of great shopping. I love shopping. And one thing to note is our exchange rate right now is really great. So our money goes a little further in Canada. So it's a fun little tip for those shoppers. Now in Whistler, you'll be able to enjoy the afternoon and evening, and then you'll spend the night in your nice, comfy hotel. The next day you'll wake up and we'll take you back to the train station for a full day of train travel from Whistler to Quesnel. Now on this particular day, you're going to see the biggest change in topography because you're heading out of that Whistler, more rainforest, more lush scenery, and you're heading up to Quesnel, which was the site of the Canadian Gold Rush. So as that implies, it's going to be a little more dry, more desert topography. So you're really getting that change of scenery on this particular day. Now, Quesnel, you'll have your late afternoon, evening here. Maybe get an app, a drink, and head to bed, because the next day you're going to be heading on a full day of train travel from Quesnel to Jasper. And this particular day is my favorite. The change that you're going to see is heading out of that more desert topography and heading to more mountainous topography. And on this particular day, you're going to pass Mount Robeson, which is the highest point in the Canadian Rockies, sitting at about 4,000 meters. We really get amazing views of the peak of Mount Robeson. We hug the base of the mountain, and it's just an incredible sight to see before pulling into Jasper here, where you'll disembark the train and start your land portion. Now, our second route that goes to Jasper is called Journey Through the Clouds, and we named this route basically after Mount Robeson, the highest point in the Canadian Rockies. This is a more direct route to Jasper and to Mount Robeson, about 2 full days on the rails with 1 overnight. And we named this one Journey Through the Clouds because quite often you can see the peak of Mount Robeson nestled in the clouds. That's how high that 4,000 meters is. And this picture really shows you how we hug that base of the mountain. You just get these incredible postcard images here. Now, heading out of Vancouver, you'll do a full day of train travel to Kamloops. And on this particular day, you are going to see some really coming out of that rainforest topography, heading more inland. You'll get more desertous topography. Kamloops is a great stopover town. You'll have a late afternoon and evening here. It's most notable for being closest to the Okanagan Wine Valley. So we offer some great selections of wine there to taste from this area. So it's a little bit more dry conditions here. After your nice comfy hotel overnight, you'll head from Kamloops on a full day of train travel to Jasper. And on this second day here, that's when you're really going to get those amazing views of Mount Robeson, the highest point in the Canadian Rockies, before pulling into Jasper here. And our third route that we operate is called the First Passage to the West. It's one of my favorite routes. I love it. It is actually the route we started our company with 30 years ago. We actually turned 30 in 2020. So it's very exciting for us. We started with a couple of train cars and 1 rail route, and we've grown to what we are today. So very happy about that. This route is pretty historic for a few different reasons. First, we are the only passenger train that operates between Kamloops, Lake Louise, and Banff. So you're truly seeing something you could only see on the Rocky Mountaineer. In addition, there's some great kind of points of interest between Kamloops, Lake Louise, and Banff. You've got the spiral tunnels, which is an engineering marvel that was built back in the late 1800s as a way for trains to scale these large mountains. You're also going to pass Krystle, which is the town where the last railroad spike was driven, connecting Eastern and Western Canadians rail, as well as my favorite part of this route is when we go over the Fraser River. It is known to be the site of one of the largest salmon runs in the world, and that happens in September every year. So you're literally going over trellis bridges. We ride the Fraser River for many miles, and the river is literally pink from all the salmon swimming upstream. It's just an incredible sight to see. So keep that in mind. There's some great points of interest here on First Passage to the West. Heading from Vancouver, you do a full day of train travel to Kamloops. Again, a great stopover town, a little more inland. And then from Kamloops, you'll do a full day of train travel after your overnight, heading to Lake Louise. And it really just depends on where you're starting your land portion, whether you get off at Lake Louise or about 45 minutes later, the rest of the passengers will get off at Banff. So those are the 3 kind of rail routes there for you to choose from. But I want to tell you quickly about a way to do a round trip. Now, I don't know about you all, but when I go to a place, I have so many on my travel bucket list that I want to make sure that I'm checking everything off when I go someplace. And a circle journey is a great way to do it. It's a great way to see all there is to see in the Canadian Rockies. So this can be checked off of your list. And a circle journey is essentially a round trip Vancouver. Basically, you would take one of our rail routes into the Rockies, quite possibly maybe the First Passage to the West. When you get to Lake Louise or Banff, you do some combination of hotel night stays and tours before heading back on the rails in Jasper to take one of those 2 rail routes back to Vancouver, creating a round trip. Now, a little bit later, I'll put a specific one together so you can see kind of how many days you should do it over and things like that. But keep in mind, a round trip is an option if you don't want to do it one way. Now, the second question we want to ask ourselves is which rail service level do we want to choose? And what that refers to is which one of our custom built dome train cars do you want to have your Rocky Mountaineer experience in? And let's start with the Gold Leaf. It's my favorite train car. I think it's a bit of a unique thing that we do. It is a bi-level custom dome coach. We actually get them custom designed and built just for us. They come over on large ships from Germany, so it's pretty exciting. And we just actually ordered a new fleet of Gold Leaf cars. So when we start operating in 2021, you're going to see some really amazing, beautiful kind of train cars there, brand new there. 3 different areas of interest. You have your top level where your main seating is. The bottom is the dining area and an outdoor viewing platform. So we'll go over those a little more detail, but here she is on the tracks. This just really gives you this idea of how majestic riding in one of these cars are. It's just a great way to experience this scenery. Now, the top level, this picture doesn't even do it justice. You have almost unobstructed views except for a small strip above your head. Beautiful tempered glass there. It really gives you that perfect scenic view there for that amazing scenery. Now, one thing to point out is everyone will have an assigned seat in this area. A typical Gold Leaf car holds about 62 passengers, and there'll be 4 train hosts there to serve you. Now, these seats are so comfy. They are kind of plush, reclining chairs with plenty of space above your head and at your feet. Now, I know we're all virtual right now. Even though you saw a picture of me earlier, I'm actually only 5'1". So for me going places, I fit in most seats comfortably. I'm totally fine. But I was actually on the train with a man who was 7'2". And he remarked over and over again how much space he had on the train cars. And I thought that was so important because I fit anywhere, but to hear someone that's 7'2" remark how much space he had on the train, how comfortable he was, just really was very special to hear. It really gave me more of a perspective on it. So just really plush kind of reclining chairs, lots of space for you to socialize there. And if you're traveling with maybe 2 couples, the seats do turn around so you can face each other. That is an option for your ride. Now, in addition, you can ascend downstairs via a staircase or an elevator to your dining area. First thing I want to point out about this dining area is look at that big, beautiful open window. You're not sacrificing any scenery by coming down to enjoy your meals. Now, remember, you do have a dedicated tiny kitchen on your Gold Leaf train car making food just for the people on your train car, a dedicated culinary staff there. And because we're daylight only, you're having breakfast and lunch on the train. With Gold Leaf, you're going to be presented with a menu. There's typically about 2 to 3 appetizer choices and about 4 to 5 entree choices. And it's going to be coursed out and served just like normal restaurant style would be. Now, while you have an assigned seat upstairs here in the dining area, you can sit with whoever you'd like. There are 2 top tables and 4 top tables. So maybe if you met a couple that are sitting a couple of seats ahead of you and you want to dine with them, this is a great place to do it. And then my favorite part of the Gold Leaf car is the outdoor viewing platform. It's a great place to go out, stretch your legs, get some fresh air, maybe take a couple pictures. The platform can comfortably fit about 15 to 20 people, and you'll find that people will rotate throughout this area throughout the day, so you never feel too crowded when you go out there. So it's a great place for everyone to enjoy throughout the trip. Now, alternatively, we do have our Silver Leaf train service. It is a great option as well. It's a single level dome coach. And look at those panoramic views. And I love this picture because it really illustrates how much space those panoramic views have. Even when you're sitting down from below your hip to above your head, you've got some great views to take in that scenery here on the single level. Again, big plush reclining chairs with plenty of space above your head and at your feet. On a Silver Leaf train car, you'll have about 54 passengers and about 2 train hosts here. And you may ask, well, what do we do for dining at the Silver Leaf? Well, we bring it straight to you. We have a tray table that folds down. We put down a nice white linen and bring your cutlery and flatware there. And we serve at your seat. You'll be presented with a menu with about 2 to 3 appetizer choices and about maybe 3 entree choices. And the appetizers will be plated and served for you at your seat, and the chef will prepare your entrees and bring them out to you as well. So it's a great option, a great way, again, to still enjoy that fresh to order fresh to order local cuisine there. A great alternative to enjoying your Rocky Mountaineer trip. And because we're a daylight only train travel company, we work with a variety of different hotel partners throughout your trip to really get you in some great hotels for those overnight stays. We have more resort type properties like Fairmont properties, or even more lodge settings, more kind of cozy lodge settings. So definitely work with the agents at Magic to come up with the hotel selections that are right for you. Ask them how you can mix and match your hotel selections when you get into the Rockies. So that's one thing to note, is the hotel selections are pretty much chosen for you along the days on the train, those 1 or 2 nights. But when you get into the Rockies, you can do whatever you like. Maybe you want to stay at a Fairmont property and go luxury and have that resort setting, or maybe you want to stay in more of a lodge setting, a nice kind of quiet lodge in the middle of Banff. That's a great option for you as well. So talk to the agents about that. So Amanda has asked, can accommodations be made for vegetarian diets on the train? Absolutely, Amanda. That's one of the things we do best, special diets. Just make sure to let your Magic agents know of your dietary issues or concerns, and we will make sure to flag your seat, and we'll come up with great things for you. In cases like that, if there's not already something on the menu, we'll come up with a special menu just for you. So that's a great question, Amanda. Thank you very much. So when to travel is the third question, the third step we want to ask ourselves when we're planning that perfect trip. We only operate from mid-April till mid-October each year, but still within that time period, there's 3 very distinct seasons. So I want to go over a little bit about what to expect. Now, spring typically for us is mid-April till about June 1st. Spring is going to have more of the winterous conditions. You're going to get a little bit of that snow-capped mountain feel. You're going to have lots of thrushing waterways from the snow melt. Wildlife sightings are going to be very abundant in spring and in the fall. That's when you're going to have your best visibility of wildlife. But one of the things I caution about spring is one of the iconic spots of the Canadian Rockies is Lake Louise. And a lot of people want to see beautiful Lake Louise on full display. She will be frozen until about June 1st. Now, while it's really cool to ice skate on Lake Louise, if you want to see her on full luster, you may want to head more towards summer. Summer travel is a great way to go. Longer days, warmer days. It's such a beautiful time because all those lakes are going to be on full display and you're just going to have the best weather. But one thing I do caution about summer is you go through many different national parks when you get to the Rockies, especially between Jasper, Lake Louise, and Banff. And national parks just tend to be busier in the summer. So a little bit more crowds. It's more of a peak time in the summer. So keep that in mind. But one of my favorite times to go is fall. While summer travel is typically mid-June till about end of August, fall typically is September and those last 2 weeks in October that we operate. I love fall because especially when you're coming out of Vancouver, you really get that fall foliage. There is a tree that's indigenous to the Rockies called the aspen tree, and it turns this unbelievable golden yellow, canary yellow color in the fall. And that, along with the reds and the greens and the oranges, create this stunning scenery. You still get all the lakes on full display. Nothing is quite frozen over yet, and you get great wildlife sightings. One thing to note, again, I will bring up again, is on the first passage to the west, every September, you get that salmon run. So if you're a big wildlife buff, going on the first passage to the west in mid-September, you get that beautiful salmon run where you see literally a pink river from all the salmon swimming upstream, millions of them. So weather in autumn tends to be a little cooler than summer, of course, but you don't get those winterous conditions quite like you do in spring. So hopefully it's just a little glimpse inside when to travel, because even though you think, oh, mid-April till mid-October is such a small kind of window, there's still some very big distinctions in the weather there. Now, Nancy has asked, do we also arrange plane travel? We at Rocky Mountaineer don't have a plane travel area, but the agents at Magic can definitely help you with that. That's what's so great about having a travel agent, because they put together everything for you, and not just for the Canadian Rockies, but every destination you can imagine. So it's really great to have travel agent friends, I'll tell you that. So thank you, Nancy, for that question. So step 4 is choosing your package. So this is the 4th question you want to ask yourself. And what this really refers to is the destination. Because remember, I'll show you this map again. Rocky Mountaineer combines one of our 3 rail routes with a set of curated land experiences when you get into the Rockies. And what that really is some type of combination of hotel night stays and tours between Jasper, Lake Louise, Banff, and Calgary. Now, we've put on this map a green dotted line because it denotes the fact that we don't have a rail route that connects you between those destinations. So what we do is we connect you via 2 ways, either motor coach tours, and these are ways that you can connect between those areas and do tours in between. Or a great option is our self-drive exploration. And what this is we basically organize a car rental for you. You'll pick it up. You'll pick it up there at your first hotel when you're arriving into the Rockies, and you'll be able to drive yourselves through all the different destinations, hotel night stays, and tours. And this is one of my favorite options because, you know, just like here, if you see a moose crossing the street, you can stop and snap a picture and you can kind of go your own way. So keep in mind, there's 2 different great ways to explore this way and really see all there is to see in the Canadian Rockies here. So what I thought I would do is kind of go through each of the destinations, tell you some of my favorite things to do. There are tons of possibilities, and what's so great about the land portion of these tours is it can be pretty customizable. So you can stay as many nights as you want in any destination, and you've got a variety of different touring options. But I'm going to tell you some of my favorite things to do, and hopefully that makes your list, but definitely talk to the Magic agents about what's going to make your list when you choose your package. Now, Vancouver, in addition to organizing things in the Rockies, we can organize things at your starting and ending points like Vancouver and Calgary. Vancouver has some great options. I really love our half-day tour that we do that features the Capilano suspension bridges and Grouse Mountain. It's a little bit outside of the city, so you get to see more of kind of that, that greenery and more lush experience, because downtown Vancouver is pretty walkable, but this is a way for you to see a little bit of the outskirts. We also offer a hop-on, hop-off motor coach that goes through downtown Vancouver. I am that tourist that loves hop-on, hop-off motor coaches, so it's one of my favorite things as well. And if you have a little extra time in Vancouver, definitely think about taking a ferry over to Vancouver Island and heading to Victoria, the capital there, and doing the beautiful Bouchard Gardens. That's a great thing to do if you want to do an extra day in Vancouver. And actually, I'm going to tell you a little bit when we talk about the promotion, how to use that extra day and get that Victoria trip in. Calgary is a great city. It is known to be kind of the Texas of Canada. So you'll see a lot of people in big bucket hats and cowboy boots, especially at the airport. They actually have a dedicated volunteers that come in to greet everyone. So friendly. But one of the things they're known for is every July, there is the Calgary Stampede, and it's about 2 weeks of rodeo events. So it's a great kind of thing to do there. In addition, it's a very walkable downtown city. I really love the Calgary Tower. It's an incredible view. I would suggest going at sunset. It's one of my favorite times to go here. Jasper. Jasper is a beautiful, quaint town known for having way more wildlife sightings than people sightings. Many people say they've been walking downtown in Jasper, and elk or white-horned sheep will be walking down the street with them. So it's a really cool thing to see. I really love Malign Lake in Jasper. During the height of the summer, you can take amazing cruises here, and the waters are just so perfectly blue and almost like glass. It's just incredible. In addition, there is a gondola with incredible aerial views of Jasper. I'm going to say a lot of different aerial views, and if you're afraid of heights, then those might not be the suggestions that you take, but that's one of the things that the Canadian Rockies really highlights well, is a lot of different aerial views. One of my favorite activities is in between Jasper and Lake Louise, and it's called the Ice Explorer. It's basically you're going to a 10,000-year-old glacier, a sheet of ice there in Jasper National Park, and you really just get an amazing kind of view of that glacier, as well as a skywalk where you do a glass bottom tour above the glacier. So keep that in mind. Ask about the Columbia ice fields if that's one of the things that you really want to see. Lake Louise, beautiful Lake Louise. This particular destination is world famous for its incredible blue water and the Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise property there. This destination is really about taking in that property and taking in that incredible scenery. It's actually scientifically proven that the waters of Lake Louise you can't see anywhere else in the world. And the reason for that is there is the substance called rock flour that erodes from the Rockies that blows into the water and settles to the bottom, and the sun reflecting off of the rock flour creates these incredible colors for Lake Louise. So sometimes you'll see it and it's more emerald green, or it's more turquoise or blue. I've even had colleagues tell me there's been times where it's been slightly purple, all depending on the time of year and the kind of the rotation of the sun. So really that destination is about taking that in. If you're a little more active, there's a great hike you can do to kind of get amazing kind of looking down scenery with the Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise set upon the water there. You could also walk halfway around the lake, and you get some really incredible wildlife sightings here because this property is truly nestled in the kind of the middle of the forest here. So lots of great things to kind of relax and enjoy in Lake Louise. And even if you don't consider staying there for a night, it's a really easy trip to go from Banff and do a day tour at Lake Louise too. So keep that in mind. You don't have to necessarily stay, but definitely add that to the touring list. Banff. Banff is a great little mountain town, lots of great shopping and eateries. Two of my favorite things to do there. One is the Banff Hot Springs. I love it, especially in the spring and in the fall, because you have that snow-capped mountains as the background when you're in this kind of natural hot tub. It's a really neat experience. But I would have to say my favorite aerial view is the gondola to Sulphur Mountain, because when you get to the top of Sulphur Mountain, you get a bird's eye view of about 6 different mountain ranges. It's just truly an incredible sight to see here. In addition, we do a lot of tours. When we take you from point A to point B, we always try to do some kind of tour on the way. And there is a tour going from Banff to Calgary where you get to go on a helicopter tour in Kananaskis. Again, another incredible view. So ask about the helicopter tours as well between Banff and Calgary. So I thought, just to wrap it up, what I would do is tell you how some of these packages come together, because we've talked about the rail, we've talked about the land portion, we've talked about all the different questions that we need to ask ourselves so that the magic agents can put together our trip. But let me show you how they could possibly come together for you. Let's start with First Passage to the West. On this particular route, we're doing the First Passage to the West, spending 1 night in Vancouver, taking a 2-day rail route into the Rockies, where you're doing a combination of hotel night stays between Lake Louise, Banff, and Calgary. Now, one thing to point out is that green dotted line area, that's really where the customization can come into place, because we're on land at that point. So you can customize your hotel offerings, you can customize the amount of days you stay, the tours you do, things like that. Maybe you look at this package and you say, well, you know what, Krystle, I think I want to spend 3-4 nights in Banff instead. We can make that happen, because during this land portion, this is truly where we can customize the trip. And just because I really love the Circle Journey, I want to show you how this could possibly come together if you're thinking about the round trip. So Circle Journeys are combining 2 of our different rail routes to create a round trip. And it's really awesome, because especially when you're putting together Rainforest to Gold Rush and First Passage to the West, you're not repeating views. You're getting amazing new scenery on those 5 days on the train. And I would suggest at least about 6 nights on land. So you get a little bit of a break in that train experience here. So this particular one, you're spending a night in Vancouver. Then you were doing First Passage to the West, heading into the Rockies, before spending about 6 combination of hotel night stays between Banff, Lake Louise, and Jasper. Then in Jasper, getting back on the train, heading for a 3-day, 2 overnight rail route to Vancouver, creating a round trip Vancouver, and that's our Circle Journey. So if you're interested in that, if you want a little more train time, you want to see all there is to see in the Rockies, definitely ask the magic agents about that. Now, I wanted to tell you, to wrap up, a little bit about the promotion we have going on right now. We are actually doing a $25 deposit for any new 2021 booking that you have. And that $25 is in Canadian, so it's literally about $19 US for you to secure your 2021 plans, to get us all dreaming about travel again. And what we do at Rocky Mountaineer is we know that everyone's trip is going to be a little different. The customization part of it makes it everyone a little different. So we let you choose your trip, and then we add perks to it. And the perks we're adding, if you book before August 28th, is 2 hotel nights, an airport transfer, and a dinner. So a couple tips on how to use that. The hotel nights, you can use those. I really love using them in Vancouver, because when you do that, you could possibly spend a day heading over on the ferry to Vancouver Island and spending a day at Victoria and doing that Bouchard Gardens. That's a great way to use the hotel nights. A transfer, maybe when you at your arriving airport, you want to just get picked up and taken to your hotel, no fuss. That's a great place to use it. And the dinner, let me tell you, if you're staying at one of the Fairmont properties, that's the best place to use it, because you can get almost $150 value out of that dinner there. It's a great way to kind of enjoy a nice dinner on us. But keep in mind that if you book before August 28th, you only need $20 to secure that booking and have your 2021 trip planned. It's such a great way to get excited about heading out and exploring in 2021. So that wraps up my part. I am so excited to have shared Rocky Mountaineer with you. And you guys had some great questions. If you have more, please type them in the chat. We'll be so excited to welcome you back to Canadian Rockies again. It's such an incredible place and incredible scenery. And no matter when you go on the Rocky Mountaineer, we've got some great kind of options for you there. So I do have one question. Melanie asked if the promo applies to 2022. The promo right now, Melanie, applies to just 2021. But when there are 2022 promotions, I'll make sure to pass those along to Patti, and the Magic Angels will know that as well. So definitely. So if you have any other questions, definitely type in the chat. I'll be more than happy to kind of get those questions answered for you. But remember, $20 is all you need.
Krystle, thank you for sharing such a lot of information in a short amount of time, because there really is a lot of territory to cover up there. And truly, the Canadian Rockies, if it's not on your bucket list, it should be on your bucket list. It's very, very satisfying. Amazing, amazing country. And so we appreciate your helping us to bring this information, to share it with our guests. And we know that you guys always, every year you offer the best promotion up front, so the early birds get to take advantage of the best savings. And that is with this promotion happening right now. $19.75 is what that equates to in US dollars. And so that little picture of the $20 is what it takes to secure your reservation on one of the qualifying trips for the Rocky Mountaineer for 2021. And if I didn't say it before, we are very limited on where we're traveling right now in 2020, and the whole Rocky Mountaineer season has been suspended, along with some of the other travel vendors that we work with. And so there is a lot of pent-up demand for 2021, and we just want to make sure that our guests, if you're ready to make the plans, that we get you a spot on board. So please call us at your convenience. Call us when you're ready to talk a little bit more detail. And if we do make your reservations by the end of August 28th, we'll be able to take advantage of all the extra savings that Krystle mentioned. There's a lot of components to this, guys, and we're here to help you with that. The great question about the flights, we can help you with the flights. We'll talk to you about travel insurance. We've got great information to share with you on preparing to go and all those details along the way. So one call does it all. We like to say, please give us a call there at 614-847-5551, and one of our agents will be available to assist you. Is there any other questions that we had there, Krystle?
Yeah, we have a few. So Elizabeth Salt has asked, are the assigned seats on the train changed every day? That's a great question, Elizabeth. No, you will be in your assigned seat for both of the days on your train, 2 or 3 days on the train. It'll be that same assigned seat. That does not change. But again, if you're in the Gold Leaf, when you go downstairs for your dining area, you can sit with whoever you like down there. So that's a way to kind of meet some people that may not necessarily be sitting next to you. Nancy has asked what the total cost for the various packages. That's a great question, Nancy. It's kind of hard to answer because, again, the customization options that you have for Rocky Mountaineer and kind of what you do on your land portion typically kind of determines the price. So we've got a lot of great packages. If you were to peruse online, you might see something saying it starts at about $2,000 a person and up. But the best thing to do is to call, just like Patti said, one call does it all. Call the agents, tell them a little bit about what you want, answering those 4 questions, those 4 steps, and they can put together a quote for you so you can kind of see how that breaks down and kind of pick and choose from there. So it's hard to give you a price because, Nancy, it really depends on what you want out of your Canadian Rockies adventure, but the magic agents can definitely do that, and they can put something together.
There's so many options, so many options. I would like to also mention that following the presentation, you'll get another follow-up. Thank you for attending, or sorry if you weren't able to attend. And on that email will be a lot of different attachments, one being the 2021 brochure, as well as the 2020 brochure, just for more details and definition and pictures and things like that, as well as different videos and so forth to share with you. So we're going to back all of this up with some more information that'll be coming your way soon.
Awesome. And that's actually the question that Karen has asked. Are there going to be brochures available? We are doing digital brochures, and you're going to get a link to those brochures, just as Patti mentioned, in a follow-up email that you're going to receive in about 24 hours. In addition, in that follow-up email, very important, you're going to get a recording of this webinar, of this event. So if you've been listening today and you're thinking, you know what, this sounds amazing, I want to plan this trip with my best friend, my family, my sister, like whatever, you can forward that link to this recording to them, and they can listen all about Rocky Mountaineer too, and they can get just as excited as you are about booking that trip. So please feel free to share the link that you're going to be receiving with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever might be interested in the Rocky Mountaineer, so we can plan those trips and get them to the Canadian Rockies. So that's a really awesome kind of thing to point out. And you should receive that email within 24 hours. You'll receive it.
Great stuff.
One more question we have. Yes, very excited about it. One more question we have from Elizabeth is, when do you think Canada will reopen its borders to U.S. travelers? Well, we don't quite know yet. As of today, they say the end of August, but it's not clear whether that'll be for U.S. travelers. You know, it's hard to really say. I don't have any specific insight. I think it just really depends on when that date rolls around, what the numbers look like as far as safety of the Canadian citizens. I think that's their number one priority. So that's a great thing. Elizabeth also asked about pricing for singles. That is a great question. I'm so glad you brought this up because Rocky Mountaineer is so friendly for the solo traveler. You're only paying for one train seat, one tour. It's all a per person pricing. The only thing where you get a little bit of a premium is the hotel night stays, because you're paying double occupancy price regardless of if you're a single. So unlike some of the cruise lines that you pay double when you're single, on Rocky Mountaineer you pay about 130%, and only because you're paying double occupancy rate for the hotel night stays. But everything else is single price. So that's a great question. Also, I was asked about the deposit, that $20. It is per person, but that's a great way to secure your 2021 trips. And also, they talk about, someone has asked about the payments due after booking. This is a great question. The $20 will secure your 2021 trip. There is 20% required at the end of November to continue to secure your trip. And then in January, if you want to take a part of the promotion, you will have to pay in full in January. Now, there are other ways to do Rocky Mountaineer trips. If you don't want to take a part of the promotion, so that you just pay an initial deposit and then the remainder of the payment is due 60 days prior to the trip. There's lots of different ways we can do it. Also, the promotion does apply to longer trips, 8 days or more, but if that's just too much for you, we've got great promotions for 5 to 7 days. So we've got a lot of different options. The best thing to do is to call the magic agents and really tell them your expectations, what you want out of the trip, answer those 4 questions, and we'll put together everything for you and give you your options along with promotions, without promotions, payment structures, all of that stuff. So that's a great question, Karen. Also, health and safety protocols were asked. We unfortunately could not operate this year because of the Canadian borders being closed. About 80% of our travelers on the Rocky Mountaineer come from outside of Canada. So it's just impossible for us to operate. Safety protocols in place, we're ready to go to operate. Mostly include very similar sanitation to what the airlines are doing, sanitation systems that spray down the cars and get us within 10 minutes. But the great thing about the trains is we already had really great filtrations, air filtration system. So that's pretty safe. Of course, mask requirements for the hosts were already in place, things like that. And a great thing about it is that we own our own train cars. So social distancing is no problem, because if we need the extra space to social distance, we'll just add a train car onto the journey. So we've got some great safety protocols, and should we get to 2021 and we have a new normal and new things that we'll have to do, we'll definitely be ready for that, because we were ready for that. We were ready. Looks like we have no more questions. Is there anything else anyone wants to ask before we sign off here?
Thank you, everyone. Please give us a call if we can help you. Thanks for your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining.